welcome to the Free Cheese episode 400. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Augustiniak.
What's up?
Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. Hello, Mark. Hello, Matt. Hello, listener. I'm excited for the 400th episode. We've got a lot of fun things to talk about. We've got some news coming up later on. We've all been playing Resident Evil Village and NieR Replicant. We've got updates on Returnal. Although, do we have updates on Returnal? Time will tell. We've got a special segment planned for episode 400 and beyond. But until then, how are you two doing this week? Tell me, Mark, what is your... Give me a Free Cheese memory that stands out. Should have planned this before I put you on the spot. Sorry.
No, I mean, first of all, I'm fine. Hi, congratulations. 400.
Congratulations to you. Thank you.
I can't recall what episode it is, but for some reason, it was like early on when I was there, and we had other members, Kyle and Tyler, and I forget what happened, but I believe Kyle said something, and then Tyler started debating with them, and it got pretty wild, but it was also really funny, and I wish I knew what it was about, but like, just the exchange was just magic.
They were always at each other's throats, though, like silently, and
it sounded like it was all like, you know, it felt like it stayed there, like it was friendly, like, you know. I
don't know, man. There was even a time where Tyler had moved out of state and was coming back to visit for holidays or something, and then I invited everybody over to hang out for a pizza party, and Tyler came and was like, he didn't tell me he was going to be there, but it was like, I don't know if this is genuine or I don't know where this is coming from. And if you ask either one of them, I don't think either will ever tell. But
well,
yeah.
Yeah, if it was something serious and I missed it, I'm sorry to them. But
no, I don't.
At the time, it was entertaining.
It always was, yeah, because they jib jab. They do good jib jabs together, you know.
Other than that, a more recent time, just to bring it up because why not? Hitman with a Hammer.
God, yeah.
The episode that created that.
Yeah, that exact, like, let's just play Hitman, and then it just, everything, man. And now they are making a James Bond game.
You birthed the James Bond
like,
the game.
God, how cool. Matt, how about you? Congratulations on 400 episodes.
Yes, congratulations to you as well, and to Mark, and to the listener.
Yeah, for real.
Cheers.
I always love the prediction episodes, because it's my chance to go make the dumbest predictions that I know won't ever come true, but I can say I told you so when I hit my 1 for 10.
Yeah.
But I think the mullet, when Joe realized that Ben had a mullet, and I think on air we just lost it for 3 minutes.
It was, yeah. I still, like, dude, I was like, the other day, like, cooking or something. I don't know, just the most mundane thing. And the image of it popped in my head and my exact perspective, like everything, like, you know, there's like key moments in life, like you can still like smell like the inside of your desk from second grade for some random reason. And you remember like that is one of those just keystone moments in life that just like is forever burned into my memory. Every detail, every scent, the way the dust was on the table. I remember every moment of Ben having a mullet. You have to.
How about you? You've been around for all of them, unlike us.
Yeah, I don't know. We've done some cool stuff, and I was taking stock of that this week as we led up to this. There's been like so many little things we've been able to do, or like that we've tried to do that have worked out or not worked out, and it's all been different. Like the cover stories are still something that was always super cool to me that I still don't think I ever fully realized what I wanted to do, but it was like they're a ton of work, so to do that while also having a full-time job, and it just isn't, yeah. But I thought those were always fun, and I liked the creativity that we all I like the like collab. Anytime where we like all collaborate on something together was always worth it. Like, not that we don't collaborate on this, but it's just the podcast itself is something different. But the actual like projects we would do were always really neat. Those are fun. But I think some of the like weirder, like little small moments that happen, like I feel like literally every week I talk to my parents. Always ask me how the podcast was to this day. Like, how's the podcast? And I feel like you do have those weeks where it's like, it was another one. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't bad. Like, I don't think we've had any bad shows, but like, whatever. But there are those ones where I'm like, it was such a good episode. Like, you just have, it was a really good episode. And like those, they're hard to, I think, look back on and be like, oh, 362 was top notch, right? Like, I don't remember the numbers at this point, but like, you just know, like those weeks after they happen, like, it was a really good week. Yeah, I don't know. Some fun stuff. I agree with where both you guys are coming from. The predictions episodes, like, always giving us a little bit of hope, for something, you know what I mean? Like, painting that future. And I think, yeah, a lot of us, when we actually got to sit and play games together, like Hitman or anything else, like, we were able to, I don't know, like, doing the wrestling stuff was so much fun. Like, the stuff Matt would come up with, and we would just, like, the first time I saw Sonic the Hedgehog walk into a wrestling ring, or the weird anthropomorphic version of Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys.
One of the best Christmas gifts I've ever gotten.
Yeah, right? Like, you know. No, thank you both. And thank everybody for listening and hanging out this whole almost 9 years, I guess. Yeah. Hey, not the end, though. Still going. In fact, we're going to celebrate for 25 weeks of the free cheese.
We're going to celebrate for half a year.
Yeah, I mean, so like Mark mentioned, like, this podcast has gone through iterations of, you know, different panel members and guests and everything. But for the last 5 years, it has been the three of us as the main core. And in that, we've done 5 full Game of the Year, where I feel like the Game of the Year stuff we didn't really do specifically until Matt joined, and we did 2016's Game of the Year properly. And I think we've had generally the same format that we ripped off of Giant Bomb since then. And we've, I think, tailored it and made it our own in different ways and modified it through the years while still having a little bit of that sting to it. But in doing so, we have awarded many an award, and specifically we've had 5 Game of the Year winners, and each of the 5 years we've done it as a trio. We've had a total of, you know, 5 in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, except for 2020 we actually did like a list of 10, a top 10. But for 2016 through 19 we had a winner and then 4 runners up. So what we're gonna do for the next 25 weeks, probably up until Game of the Year 2021, is look back each week at one of the games that made it into that top 5 and talk about the game, maybe how we think about it now, how we think about it contextually for that year, and we're going to start ranking them, and we're going to come up with an ultimate list of 25 Game of the Years. And then listeners from a couple weeks back are going to go, no, you're not. Listen here, I already did. I'm going to have an article on the website you can follow along with, where we will track the list as we build it and also add comments and things about the games themselves. So check that out over at thefreecheese.com. That'll be on the main page. Easy to find. Also, fun coincidence, our first Game of the Year was 2016, and the winner was Doom. And a formula I put into a spreadsheet that tracks all this stuff spit out a random game for us to choose, and it was Doom. So we're going to talk about Doom today, and by default, it is the best game of the year because there's only one on the list. Yeah, so I guess Mark, what stands out to you about Doom 2016? What are your memories of that game? Where does it fall in the pantheon of
Doom was one of the first PS4 games I ever owned and played. Like, I just got a PS4, and I remember, like, I got a couple games that weekend. It was like that, Overwatch, and Digimon Cyber Story, or Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, sorry. And by the time I got to Doom, I didn't know, I mean, I kind of knew what I was getting into, but not really. And just seeing how fluid that gameplay was, everything just felt good to jump, to punch, to shoot. And then the music kicking in just like really helped with it. I actually felt like incentivized to kind of like explore and just see every little like nook and cranny and find those little collectible figures. I don't know. It just felt, it was just a good time. Like, I didn't put much thought into it. Just my brain turned off for that moment.
Yeah, it's hard to find a bad thing to say about that game. Like, it really was. It was just fun to play. And you felt like you were having fun while you were playing it. Where other games that we'll talk about the next, as we go through this list, I think there are some that are like, they were our game of the year in some regards, but like there were chores that happened. Like, Doom never felt like a chore that I remember. Maybe if I go back to it today, it might be different, but I remember just like having fun throughout that game. I think it's the motion and the mobility, it encouraged you to go through that. The music you mentioned, like, just nothing like that punched.
Like most first person games don't really do the best job at platforming. Like, it can be a little wonky and weird. This one seemed like it had a good enough level to it with the way you jump and the way you can just climb up on ledges. Like, I feel like a lot of, like, not enough games do that. When you jump to an edge, it's like, just let me climb it. Just let me climb it.
Yeah. Yep.
And that one, just no problem. I got you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, to do it in, first person specifically, like that, I think they took a lot of the best of, like, Mirror's Edge and then said, what if we also had guns? Matt, what does Doom 2016 mean to you?
A rebirth of many sorts. One, for Doom itself. The last major entry before that was Doom 3, which, probably I never played it, but good probably in its own right from what I've heard, but it alienates me as like a true ass horror game. But then, like, so like you talked about it, right? Like the shooting, the climbing mechanics, searching the world for all the collectibles and all that stuff. But like, that was it. All of it just combined to this great total package that was just kick ass. And then also it was like a rebirth for the shooter genre again, because like any first person campaign was something about usually like an army dude, and he's in this war, and there's all these like set action pieces with quick time events or whatever, and this kind of like reset that to make it okay to have like an arena based shooter again and have it be fun and fulfilling. And I think since that game, you've seen so many iterations of a shooter taking like that arena approach. Even like Returnal, that just released like 2 weeks ago, has that. Like, you're in an arena with a bunch of enemies, you're taking them one. Different vibes, they each go their separate ways, as other games have done with that kind of thing. But like, not just for Doom though, just for the shooter genre, it was like a breath of fresh air at the time. And it's really good. That multiplayer sucks. That did not get a rebirth. That was very generic, but the campaign itself is badass. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I had pretty much not written off, like, not so harshly. Like, I didn't make a big old stamp declaration, but yeah, like, shooters were not a genre I chased down anymore. Like, I would play them when I was younger, because how could you avoid Call of Duty at that point? And playing with everybody was always the way to do it. That was the thing. It was more like a chat room than it was right? You know what I mean? You were just hanging out playing Call of Duty, but a Doom, or rather like a single player campaign, like, I did not care about a first person shooter in that regard. And Doom reminded me that, like, oh, you can be excited about these things. There's fun to be had. Not that there hadn't been in the years since, but like, Doom just kind of like reset my expectations a lot of what I want and expect out of a shooter. It's just rad, dude. Like, overall rad game. Like, it was cool. And it was cool to be excited about Doom again, because I remember when I was a kid,
my mom's like best friend's son playing Wolfenstein, and me being like, "What is it?" Thinking the name was so weird, and he told me you had to kill Hitler, and I thought Hitler was such a funny sounding word. Like, didn't understand any of the stuff that was going on until much later. And Doom also, like, the exposure to that stuff was difficult to ignore, even being so young when Doom came out. I think I was 4 when the original Doom came out, but it still was kind of there, and having this be like so being swept up in the zeitgeist of it was exciting. And yeah, I mean, I would you guys change the fact that we gave it Game of the Year?
Not over that top 5. I can't remember what else, but I'm assuming if it was anything good, that top 5.
That year, I know we had. Yeah, well, let's put it this way: what if? Well, Mark, I'll let you answer that one too. Yeah.
No, I think it still checks out.
Do you think that had we played Hitman that year, that Hitman would have? Because we fell in love with Hitman in 2017.
I think it would have made the top 5 somewhere. I don't know if it would have beaten Doom.
Yeah, there's just something like there's just a certain type of fluidness that I feel like only Doom can achieve, and just for me, that's just what keeps it going. Is that level of momentum that it has.
And kind of just going off of how when we played Hitman 2 and 3, the latest releases, right off the gate, there's not that much content besides the main campaign. It slowly rolls out. I think that was part of the advantage of us coming to Hitman late, was we had so much to do that we made a series out of it. If it was just the campaign, I don't know how we would have ranked it at the time. I mean, we knew it was going to be a live service game, but we didn't know. I wouldn't know how we would feel about that.
Yeah.
Although that did release early that year. That was a January release, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
right?
because I think all 5 levels were out by the end of 2016.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like escalation protocols. Like I remember us going into the escalation protocols with that stuff. Yeah. And I know like Hitman 3 had like 1 or 2 at launch. So
yeah. Well, it is our de facto number 1 on the list right now. But any final words about Doom from 2016 that you guys want to share?
I think I'm in the minority here, but I think I like Doom Eternal just a tiny bit better. Just the tiniest bit. I like that fighting mechanic. I like the rock, paper, scissors thing. I know you are the biggest fan of that, but I really like that a lot.
I want to finish replaying Eternal, especially now on a Series X, because I'd started a couple weeks back and then just kind of fell off, but I'll give it another shot and see where I land. But yeah,
I don't feel qualified to compare because I didn't finish Eternal. But no, I mean I totally respect that opinion though. Like that makes sense. I know a lot of people do like that, and it adds more of a challenge while being on the fly. So it works for some.
I'm not going to stress over this, but I think it's one of those days where I think if you talk to me on the right day, I'll say Doom 2016. But most days when I wake up in the morning, I ask myself, is Doom Eternal or Doom better? I think like the 200 of the 365 days, I go with Eternal.
When your Doom alarm goes off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Either way, it's Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark, any final thoughts on Doom?
I appreciate it for what it's done, for what it is. It definitely scratches that itch for somebody like me who comes from like a more arcadey, I still have my Hotline Miami altar that I worship to. So any games that slightly scratch that itch in some way, there you go. You earned it. You earned my love.
And final question for the both of you. I don't think I'll ask this every week because we'll actually start building it, but I'll ask this now because it was our first game of the year we came together on. Also, Dash was on that episode with us, or all of those episodes with us for Game of the Year, and it was a lot of fun. I super miss Dash, but yeah, that
shout out.
where do you think Doom ends up on our final list in October, November when we wrap all this stuff up? Does it have a chance to sit at the top?
No.
No, he says.
Yeah, I don't know.
Won't be one. I could see it floating around the 5 area. Somewhere between 8 to 3, depending on how arguments go, but I don't think it's top spot.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to agree with Matt.
All right.
There's
I don't know.
Too many good games.
There are.
There's a lot of good
That's it's gonna be the tough part of this as we go through it. So welcome along for the journey as we kick this off with episode 400. We're gonna keep doing that for a while among our regular episode, and then we'll see what else. I feel like 2021, and as we step into this, it's the season of change. So who knows what other weird changes we might do to the podcast. Could be absolutely nothing, but I like the format we've been doing where we kind of spit news in between gameplay stuff and break it up. And I don't know, listeners, if you have suggestions or you hate this, you love this, whatever, let us know. podcast@thefreecheese.com. Mark, you got some stuff going on back there.
Oh, this old place that I'm in that looks like a, I don't know, what's the word? Starts with a V. Can't.
Villa.
Vassal. Wait, no, I'm thinking of castle. Sorry, it's a typo with my mouth.
I mean, there is a castle in the background.
Vassal. Wait. Oh, wait. Matt, help.
I said Villa.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
welcome to Resident Evil Villa.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thank you. We've all been playing Resident Evil Village, and we are all in various states of that game. I think Matt and I are probably in the same-ish area. But Mark, I think you've seen a bit more. Fun fact, and I know we all had kind of different journeys to get here. I bought the game earlier in the week and then had it preloaded. It came with Reverse, which I promptly uninstalled because it's delayed anyway, and I needed the hard drive space. But the Wednesday into Thursday, I couldn't fall asleep until like 2. And I was like, this sucks. But hey, maybe if this happens Thursday into Friday, I can stay up and play Village. And I'm out at like 11 o'clock. And I was like, all right, well, guess I'm not playing that. Then I wake up at 4:44 a.m. Friday morning. And I'm like, well, I'm awake. Do I go back to sleep or do I go play Village? And I sat there for like almost 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to go play Village. So I came down, started the coffee pot early, and just got to the grind. And the fun thing about that was I was down here in the pitch black. Sun hadn't come up yet, so it was awesome experience. But I know, Mark, you couldn't preload at all on Steam. And Matt, you pulled the trigger kind of midday Friday. So we all kind of started at different points, but what are some first impressions? Mark, I know this is like, I know we're all there, but I know that like this is like on the list. This is the Mark game.
Yeah, this is it's been a dream come true, long time coming. It's finally nice to finally get to play it. Yeah, oddly enough, my sleep cycle has been kind of normal. So, I didn't wait till midnight or whatever to play it. I actually just like went to bed and been waking up at like 5 or 6 in the morning randomly. And I'm still like, this is too early. I just want to sleep in just a little bit more. And it's like, nope, sorry. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just install the game. And then I didn't realize how much time went by in the day. But here we're like almost at like clocking in at 10 hours. But I mean, it's definitely like levels above 7 in almost every department. Like just like the visually, the sound design, the gameplay, a lot of quality of life improvements compared from that. It feels good. It's been suspenseful the entire time. Like it hasn't let up. I haven't really been like too like, like terrified or scared to like go to a certain like place or area or whatever. But there's definitely been some moments where I had to like stop and pause and just kind of like soak in what just happened and how do I want to approach these situations. But man, yeah, it's such a good blend of like, 7 and 4 and all those vibes. And like, I still don't know what the hell's going on. Like, I feel like I do, but I don't. And I keep like having theories in my head every like couple steps I go. But I love it.
I think that's exciting to hear that like you're that far and you're not done. Cause I feel like 7 wrapped up in, about 7 or 8 hours. So to hear that you're at 10 and still you have questions.
Yeah. Like,
exciting.
If anything, I'm probably like almost halfway, not even. That's cool. If I'm to gauge how I think this is, that's just my guess. But yeah, I feel like I haven't really made too much of a dent in this game. Like, I know I've done at least a quarter, but that's all I can claim.
And Joe, you said 7 was like 7 or 8 hours, and Resident Evil 3 Remake was 3 hours, so this is a welcome.
3 took me like 5 plus, I think. But no, I mean, yeah, you could speed through that game in like an hour if you knew what you were doing. Yeah,
like this has more like an open world-ish thing to it. So like you're going to be traveling back and forth a lot between places, and there's just so much to do. Yeah,
I did see that this had an achievement for beating the game in under 3 hours. So
maybe on New Game Plus.
yeah. But no, I think there's a lot of the specifics you kind of mentioned there I want to hone in on, but I agree that the one I'll say broadly and let Matt talk is that kind of like it carries the series forward so far, carries it forward from 7 while starting to reach a little bit back into its past in a lot of different ways. And I feel like 7 was I didn't play 6 or 5, so I can't say, but from jumping from 4 to 7, release wise, that kind of 7 had the return, like you're in the house for a good chunk of the time, and it's very much back to being in the Spencer Mansion. And I think this already, for me, is Spencer Mansion vibes in a way. Just kind of exploring something. There's keys, there's puzzles, there's all that stuff that you expect out of an old classic Resident Evil. Yeah, Matt, how's it going for you? Because you were on the fence of, do I do this? I want to do this.
Yeah, so far I like it a lot. Yeah, I haven't been like to the point where I'm like put the controller down, or if I had an Apple Watch on, like my heart rate would be above 100 going into like an area or whatever. But like, yeah, I guess I'll put it this way: I'm through all the demo content at this point. I've played a little bit past it, so if you played it, you kind of know, and play the demos, you kind of know where you're at. But like, I think I've gotten through some areas, and I'm not to pat myself on the back and say I'm proud or whatever, but like, I feel like if that is like maybe not the peak of it, but if that's like some of it as best or as most scariest, like I think I'm gonna get through this game kind of all right. Well, with some scares. I'm not gonna say I haven't jumped out of my couch yet, because there's a couple times where that's happened, but no.
There were moments earlier on where I did not think you were gonna make it. So the fact that you've gotten where you're at, I'm like, all right, Matt's got this.
Yeah, so but as far as the game, I think it's really good. I realize that I think I'm not good with a controller anymore for first person shooters, because aiming in that game is that is tough. I find myself not even ADSing more than ADSing, because I feel like that's when I miss all my shots. The enemies are just tough enough where you don't want to engage, but if you have to, like, you can take them as long as they don't swarm you and you have enough ammo. I like the guard thing. I think that's a good little, like, if you do get swarmed, kind of like run and guard at the same time. I did like that mechanic. I don't know how to do the counter push thing. That's the one thing I don't quite understand. I don't think the game's done a good job of telling you how to do that push.
Is it a timing thing?
I don't know if I'm not hitting a button correctly or whatever, but there is, like, I definitely saw the thing come up to like push away, and it was engaged to L1. I'm playing on PS5. It was engaged to L1, so like I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, or the mechanics just very specific moments or whatever. But anyway, that's a brief gripe. Like it doesn't affect my gameplay at all. But I like it. I like like what Mark said. There's like a mystery here, and I have watched 7, but I did go through and watch the recap. Did you guys watch the recap of 7?
Yeah.
So
the one at the beginning of this.
Yeah, I like
no,
the way that was framed because that wasn't just like, all right, here's a story dump. It was like Ethan being interviewed by someone, which I don't know if that's being like, that's going to play into what happens here. But right away, just from the recap, I was like, all right, that's a different way of telling what happened in 7 that a lot of games don't do. So, yeah, I really like the level of mystery. I like all the characters. I think that council scene that's very early on was a cool scene to kind of get the vibe of like who's running the show here, and is a cool introduction to all these different characters who I assume will turn to be enemies at some point. And yeah,
it set it up, and Mark mentioned to me that he's getting big Mega Man vibes from being in that room, and I'm like, man, yeah, of course, Capcom like legacy, but yeah, that. I think it's so cool.
There was a cool little trick I found out. I wasn't trying to do it, but when Matt was talking about trying to do the counter, I completely forgot about a counter. But I do remember in the trailers they would show Ethan like kicking people away, and I was like, yeah, I want to learn how to do that. But all I've learned to do accidentally is while guarding, you can still shoot while guarding. He'll have one hand up still, and he'll like fire his pistol.
I did not know that.
I was like, exciting. Oh, cool. I shot a box. But...
yeah, one of the things Mark mentioned kind of as he's breaking down everything is the sound, and that was the first thing that stood out to me with sound design in this. Like I said, like my circumstance starting it was 5 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, down here by myself, and as I'm playing it, I'm playing, just so listeners are aware, on a television with no external speakers, not with headphones plugged in. And I felt like sounds were coming from the back room. I thought that Katie had woken up and was on her way down because of like stuff I heard walking above me at times. And it was not that at all. And I did a double check to make sure it wasn't the neighbors or anything like that, but it was not. It was like really cool, like that they were able to pull that off with TV speakers. I'd never experienced that, and it looks so good. Like that was one thing too. Like last night when I was playing and Katie came down, she was like, "Man, look at this game!" Like it looks. And that was when I'm inside the castle. Not even like I thought walking through the woods when it was pitch black. Like that part was like seeing the snow. Like the sound design there was super good. Like especially then because that's before they really show you what you're up against. The way things are like kind of skirting around through the woods, and you're like, wait, did I see something, or was that just was that in my head? You know, I thought all that's really, really well done, and it looks incredible. I don't. Yeah, it's too early to like nitpick or complain for me, but I'm excited to see more of it. It's tough because I'm like, when I play it, I want to sit down and play it for like, you know, an hour at a time or something like that. And so I've been like jumping back and forth between it and NieR, but it's like it's a lot of fun. I don't know. That's I don't want to say anything too spoilery because I think that part of these games, what makes them fun is like the uncovering kind of who's in it, what's happening, where you're going as a character. I think that already in the time that I've spent with it, there's been some surprises I did not expect, so I think that's cool for people jumping in. And I've already had to solve some puzzles, which was fun. Like, did you guys do the? I don't want to say too much, but did you do the statue puzzle? I guess Mark, you definitely did, but Matt, did you get to that one yet? Where you had to turn statues?
Yeah.
Oh, the blind men don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I did that. Oh. Yeah, I did that.
Because I walked in and I'm like, what is happening here? I'm going to walk in here and hang out and look cool, I guess. But
I kind of got that on my first try. I was kind of proud of myself.
Yeah. As soon as I read the thing, I was like, okay, yeah, you do that, yeah. I love a game that makes you feel smart and encourages you to want to do more stuff like that, right? Like
that was. I will say I was scared to death doing that puzzle because there is a yell madness from a certain character. I was like, oh, I pissed off the wrong person now, and I thought they were going to be coming any second. But besides an elevated heart rate doing that, I didn't. Yeah, no, that was this. I do like the castle. It kind of feels. I mean, go back to Resident Evil 4, but like, it kind of feels like that castle from Resident Evil 4 that you're in for like 2 major chapters of that game as well. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we're going to get quite to like a fiery lava pit that 4 gets into. Who knows? I don't know. But like, I don't know if it's going to get as ridiculous. I think it's going to be a little bit more grounded. But no, because I'm getting some of those vibes as well from it, in addition to the Spencer Mansion. Also, I just thought about this. Like, did they overcompensate? How do you say her name? So, lady what?
Yeah,
go ahead, Mark.
It's pronounced Dimitrescu.
Yeah. Dimitrescu. Okay. I think they overcompensated for Lady Dimitrescu because of how short what's his face from 4 was.
For all we know, it's just like 4 Salazars inside of a
stacked up inside.
Yeah.
Dude, what a reveal that would be if it was just 4 Salazars. He wasn't dead.
I'm curious to see what else is going on in there. The other thing is I think that the marketing, I guess it worked out because I'm surprised that there's other characters, but the marketing leaned so heavily into her and her 3 daughters that you kind of thought that was not the big bad, but like I did not expect the others to even be there. So I think that's exciting. I think some of the fairy tale stuff that's been woven throughout is Tim Burton-y in a way that's nice.
Yeah, I did not expect that opening. That was like that specifically.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, that was pretty good.
Am I playing Resident Evil or what is this? And then just try to not get into spoiler territory again, but like Ethan, fucking goddamn, everything happens to that guy.
Yeah,
he can't catch a break.
Well, he had that moment at the top of the barn or whatever it was where he like just said like, why is this happening again? Just like punches the wall.
But I love that. It's just a normal dude just dealing with shit.
Yeah, why is this happening again? Come on.
My favorite thing so far in this game that's really, I mean, aside from the obvious that keeps you going in a game, the map. Not specifically how big it is or what it shows, but like, well, I guess kind of what it shows, but like the color coding. So like, if you're in a room and you didn't get all the items, it's highlighted red. Once you get it all, it is blue. This has triggered my OCD in a way where I have to complete every single room before I move on. Unless I know that, like, all right, I can't do this until I have to come back later or something.
Right, there's a key item or you don't have a lockpick or something.
Man, just that alone. If that was just the whole game itself, was, hey, complete the map. Got it. Don't even give me the story.
It's driving me crazy because I've been trying to do the same thing too. And there's one room that, like you said, most rooms you can look at and you're like, oh, I need the crank or I need this thing or I can't complete it to whatever. There's one room that I've gone through. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm missing. I've checked everywhere. There's no reason that I can't. It's the room where you get one of the masks.
Okay.
So if you could help me out and tell me what I'm missing, but like,
when in doubt, look up.
I did. That was the thing. I was like, okay, I'll have to go back there and look again. I don't know what. I was like, maybe it's because who knows? But yeah, they did a good job of that in, I guess 7 they had that in there too. But I guess my first exposure to that, I mean, obviously this is like dating back to the GameCube remake also. But I think me playing 2 remake a couple years back for the first time is where I was first kind of like exposed to that in the modern sense. No, I guess the RE remake would have been the one. Never mind.
Remake has it, but like 2 took it to the next level of just like convenience, because like it would mark a door as like the heart door for the heart key. Yeah, like in Resident Evil 1, you still had to remember what went where or whatever. So yeah, you definitely got the next evolution of it. Yeah, it does scratch this weird like Metroidvania, like fill in the map kind of itch. So yeah, I'm like itching. I'm not going to be able to play it much this weekend, unfortunately. But like, I am like itching to get back in the village, and I don't know like if I've ever itched for a Resident Evil game like this since like 4 or 5.
Feels
6.
good.
Yeah, 6 was a slog. I'm sorry.
I'm curious to see more of it, and I'm excited. I think is it still rainy outside? Like I might just kill the lights down here and hang out and play that later on.
Look, man, that Orioles game gets canceled. I mean, it's unfortunate to be my first time back in Camden Yards today, but I mean, it is Victoria's birthday, but yo, she can watch me play some Village.
She'll understand.
She loves Halloween. She can just hop on board.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You know, and these are better than any scary movies that have been coming out anyway. So,
no, not the 2018 Halloween, boy. H4.
Well, in recent, you know,
Give it time.
Yeah. Between Village, like I said, I've been jumping between NieR Replicant. I know you guys have two. Matt is a hard shaking head.
Actually,
no
I have
way.
not. I have not. I just haven't gotten to it. That's all.
I guess the big question of the week is, Mark, did you beat it? Because you were knocking on that door last week.
Yes and no. So, yeah, I did.
For any other game, I wouldn't know what you were talking about, but because it's a Yoko Taro game.
I mean, is that really a spoiler if we bring that up?
No, I don't think so.
So, yeah, so I beat ending A.
Okay.
I'm on ending B. And I wish B kind of didn't exist the way that it does.
Okay, let me ask this. And I guess, Matt, if you don't want to know this or you guys think that this is going to be too spoilery for the listener, is it similar to Automata where...
I wish I could tell you.
Oh, okay. Specifically what I mean is like,
Gameplay.
Do you need to restart the game, or is it continual? Like you beat A and now let's go into B and then let's go into C, and then depending on some choices you make, you get an alternate, you know, is it similar to that?
You definitely are replaying a good chunk of the game.
Okay. Got it.
Granted, it is at a bit of a faster rate because, you know, you've done so much already and it carries your progress, so you can handle things a lot faster. But I think the game could have handled this a little better for what it's trying to do and show. But
maybe they learned from that mistake with Automata.
But I can understand why it is the way it is. Also, just for a gameplay reason, in case you missed out on stuff. I guess that's your chance because I think.
So you're saying that the fact that I missed all those side quests, I can go get them or no?
I think it depends on exactly which ones.
Okay.
But I think whatever you do in B will benefit you greatly in C.
Okay, got it.
So I can understand it from that perspective. Other than that, didn't want to
Mass Effect 3 vibes where you had to get the battle readiness all the way up as much as you could before the final fucking battle.
Yeah, so I don't know, just I had to get all those pieces again. I was like, I don't want to do this.
Oh, you had to do all that? Okay. I just got my first of the 5, so okay.
Yeah.
So I mentioned last week that I hadn't listened to it yet, but that 8.4 had worked on this game. They worked on Automata, and at the time I thought they had not worked on the original. Totally wrong about that. They did work on the original, and that was actually kind of cool hearing. So if you haven't listened to 8.4 play ever, A, you should, but B, you should listen to this one if you're playing NieR Replicant. They don't go into any spoilers or anything like that, but I think it was cool hearing perspective for a couple of reasons. One, there's a member on staff who just started at 8.4 last year, and one of her first big projects was NieR Replicant, and she was a fan playing the original, nerding out over it when it first came out 11 years ago, and just kind of shared the how cool it was to go from that to being able to work on it. And then they talked a bit about the process of what it was like to work on the original and then Automata and now come back for this. And it's also funny if you've been listening to them for a long time. Last year, John Ricciardi of 8.4 was talking about how couldn't travel because of pandemic and restrictions when travel and all that stuff. But they still had to get stuff recorded. And at the time, he couldn't talk about which project he was working on. But it was this. And basically, he, on Japan time, was working what LA hours would have been. So whatever normal work hours are for LA people, he was working that in Japan overnight and just staying up and doing these Skype sessions to, crazy. But I think the voice acting turned out really, really well.
Yes.
And I think that all the local, it's super, super good. And I hit a point in the game where I kind of had this realization this week where I was thinking back to Automata a bit, and I don't know, but like for me, like when when you're a kid and you meet somebody new, right? So you meet Mr. Bob, and he's the first Bob you've ever met. He's the first guy like Mr. Bob you've ever met. You don't know anybody like Mr. Bob but Mr. Bob. And for a while, all you know is this guy, and you know his name is Bob. And things are as they seem. And then you are watching TV, and you realize that John Goodman is a lot like Mr. Bob. And like there's a lot of crossover between John Goodman and Mr. Bob. And then you get a new neighbor at some point who's like, hey, that guy kind of reminds me of Mr. Bob. And you keep going, and the older you get, the more you accept that there's a lot of people that are like Mr. Bob and a lot of people like John Goodman. And there's so many others just like Bob, and there's so many others just like John Goodman. And that's kind of the feeling that I got while playing NieR Replicant. And I don't know that that makes total sense, but there's just something like incredibly human and familiar and personal, but also it's like this like weird buried language hidden within, which is funny given the circumstance of this game and its story and its ties to language and things like that. But there's just this like, I don't know, this like melancholy, but also hope and also pain and I don't know. It's like this eternal state that I think we all live in without being able to articulate it. And I think the game still doesn't articulate it in a way that makes sense, but there's something that cuts through and hits.
Yeah, like it does have a very potent sense of like genericness overall. If you're to like just look at it like casually.
Sure.
Like just the way it's like designed and like what you do, and it's just like, all right, yeah. If you've played an action game before, this all will kind of feel very familiar. You kind of just go through the grind and whatever. But as you go through it and you get ending A, you learn a lot, and then you start to think about it differently. You start to see it a little differently, and things just keep opening up more and more. And not really related, but there's a cool Easter egg that I discovered. And if I thought before that this wasn't the best soundtrack of the year, it definitely is at this point.
So unfortunately, I think I know the Easter egg you're talking about. Which sucks, but that I spoiled it for myself by accident. But super cool. I have been listening to nothing but that soundtrack in the last like 48 hours. It's just been...
It got to a point where like certain tracks I don't even want to listen to now because of moments in the game where it's like, oh, never mind.
And that too... That's the other unfortunate thing is like the further I play this, the more I'm remembering either A, from Automata, but B, from after playing Automata, looking up the history of these games and thinking, I'll never play these. Let me look up all the spoilers. So I'm kind of like still remembering some of those bits. A lot of them have, Matt and I talked about this yesterday, but like a lot of them have like escaped me, but they're slowly returning. But
yeah, whoever's doing the vocals in these games, like fucking kudos, man. Like all of it's beautiful.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited so we can like actually talk about this stuff and swap notes and share a real experience. But it's really good, and I don't. It sucks because I want to get through it, but I don't want it to be over. But I also like, yeah.
You'll probably get a good like 60 hours out of it or something.
That was the other thing I was going to mention too, is that the people that worked on the game. Because you said last week you were close to 30 hours, and I was like, okay, he's probably getting close to the end. And the people who worked on the game were talking about being at hour 45 plus and still being like 4/5 of the way through. It's like, oh boy. Now, I've skipped a lot of side quests by accident, so maybe that's going to speed things along a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the side quests I do think are like the weakest thing. Like there's one I'm doing now where you have to collect like these titanium alloys and memory parts and all this stuff from the junk heap, and I'm like, I ran through a whole bunch. Then I got a mission that took me deeper into the junk heap, and I got a lot of that stuff. But I'm like, I'm not doing it again. I'm just not going to complete that side quest.
Yeah, I was
until
trying to be
one day
a
where I'm like, maybe I'll
completionist.
chase all the achievements. But yeah,
They'll patch in. Maybe they'll patch in the buying achievements.
I would love that. Yeah, if we could put that in there, I would just buy them all. Are you, Mark, more interested in seeing the other Drakengard games or a brand new experience in this set in this world, or this, the universe of NieR? And
I think I would really like to play a Drakengard game. I mean, I'm all for new stuff too, of course, but I think if this was able to get treatment to be like revived and better taken care of and developed and all that, with the proper time, I think it would be cool to have access to the games that we didn't have access to before.
Yeah. More on that one as we keep going with it. I don't think that one's gonna leave us anytime soon. We will keep coming back, like Returnal keeps coming back. Matt, last week you made a promise. I'm not going to talk about this game because I don't think there's going to be much more to say. And it turns out there's more than meets the eye.
Yeah. So one, I got to talk about the midweek debacle, and it's going to sound really bad, and I'm going to be frustrated as I explain the story. But I'm going to end it on good notes to keep in mind how good I think this game is. So the game became real meta. And I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday. The stuff from Housemarque started coming out was like, hey, make sure your auto update is turned off, so that way your run doesn't get fucked when we roll out a patch and it auto installs, which is that's another issue with this game. But like, so I didn't care. I think I was very early on anyway, so it doesn't matter. So that day, patch comes out, I start my run, and early-ish on, I start seeing this little, like, pop-up. It's like a PlayStation UI pop-up that's like, game save error or something like that. And the icons they were showing is very much like console to cloud, so I just thought maybe something was weird with the network, and my console save was not syncing to the cloud as I was playing. Well, I ended up having a great run, defeating the second boss, going to the third biome, and doing some objectives in there, and even getting to the third boss, which, that third boss, by the way, is a fucking, that is a wild setting they put you in that, and that's a lot of fun. But anyway, so I get there, I die. I didn't think I was going to beat him first try, but I got third stage, so I got invested into like his patterns and things like that, so I kind of felt good maybe going into a second or third try. But like as I kept playing, especially when I got to the new biome, that error message kept coming up, and it was like every time I went into like a new area of that biome, that message popped up. Every time I killed a new enemy, that message popped up. Every time I was picking up an item, that message popped up. And it was just because I had never been in this biome before, it seemed like it was it kept coming. And it wasn't game breaking, obviously, because I kept playing, but like, it was annoying enough where I can see why people were like, what the fuck this? This is a terrible fucking experience to play this game. Had I known it would have broken my game, though, I would have stopped. So, turns out the patch they deployed was bad, and the issue was not that the save was not syncing to the cloud, it was that the game would not save on your console, and the error I kept getting was that the cloud save was like, the cloud save was the only save on the console, because on the new patch, the game couldn't save anymore. So, I go through this nice run, defeating the second boss, and like I said last week, whenever you do main objectives, they stick. So if you defeat the second boss, you don't have to defeat the second boss anymore on your run. You can actually probably just find a way to go straight past the biome, right into the third one if you wanted to. But I did not know what was going on. I resynced my save from the cloud to the console, and the next day when I read about the patch notes that they reverted it and did all that, I it kind of dawned on me that, oh shit, I think I just kind of reset it and it wouldn't matter. Like, it didn't matter. It wasn't saving anyway. So I go ahead, boot up the game, and I saw that my objective is to kill the second boss. And I was like, oh fuck, that sucks. And it's not, I don't think it's because of this, but I haven't gone back since then. I think it kind of killed my momentum because I got to that cool third boss. Third biome's pretty cool. There's different enemy types in there than what I had been seeing. It was just like I was new territory, and then for me to like I got a grappling hook because of the second boss. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Like now, like I can't even do the grappling hook things in the previous biomes because I don't have that main objective saved anymore. So like I'm literally recharting same territory for this, and that kind of sucks. Also, I think another reason why I haven't come back to it is because I don't want to invest. I don't want to invest all this time into a good run, because I like to get out of that game and play baseball, or now Resident Evil Village. And now if I get to the second biome with a decent build, there's no save and quit option. I have to keep my game either on that or in rest mode in that game to keep my run going. So I don't want, and I think I was talking to you about this, Joe, but like I don't need like a checkpoint system, because that defeats the whole purpose of a roguelite. Like I like the roguelite thing, but let me have the opportunity to save my game and leave to play another one. If someone else wants to save scum and take away the experience of what a roguelite should be, that's on them. Let them have that bad experience, and then let them be mad that like the game is only 3 hours long, or however long it is.
Right.
But like for me, like I want to play other stuff on my console. I want to go and play baseball. I finally started my road to the show. I want to keep like kind of like get into that. I now have Village. I want to explore the castle, for the next half an hour or so. Like there's things I'm going to want to do that if I'm in the middle of a run and like for whatever reason I have to step away, I don't know. And I don't know if I want to play Returnal for like 2 hours in a row anymore, because I got all this other stuff I'm like invested in. So
I think that's extra, like, it hits extra hard because of the nature of these new consoles being so, I think PlayStation 5 even more so quick loading, but, like, that quick resume stuff I talked about last week on the Series X and just how these things are, like, you're almost encouraged to jump between multiple things at once and juggle multiple games because it's so easy to do so. So to not be able to do that is a big blow.
Yeah, like I said, all I want, just give the players the option. And I understand why Housemarque doesn't want to do it, is because of what I said. Is there's people that are going to save scum and do like a perfect first run, and I don't know if like that affects, like I know there's like challenges you can, like daily challenges that gets a score or whatever that buffs your character. Like I don't know what impact I guess that would have there if we're like really thinking about all like the reasons why not to do it. But yeah, I really just want that option, because I do want to flip between games, and it's frustrating that I have to now like that's the other thing. If I did have a middle of a run, with all the patch issues they've had, they've rolled out like 3 patches this week. Like I mean, I'm not going to go into the settings and turn off auto update, because I want to keep my, like, that's stupid. That goes against the whole point of putting your console into rest mode. So yeah, that's the debacle I have with that game, and the issue I have with it is not being able to leave a run in the middle of it to play something else. So like I think all those factors have been a reason why I haven't returned to it since all that stuff. But yeah, no. But besides that, though, I want to end this on a good note, because I do really like this game. I like the Metroidvania aspect of it. So in the first biome, like while your first couple runs where you're still wrapping your head around what the hell this game is, like you realize like there's ledges you can't get to, but there's these little orange lights that like are appearing on the edge. You're like, oh, I bet you I need something. I got it after the second boss, and I did do like a little mini run to see like what areas it could get into, like, and now I got another level of like areas to explore in the first biome that still make that biome feel like unique enough and like worth going through, in my opinion. And I know like kind of going in, like there's places in that first biome that I know need that I haven't been able to get to, and I feel like they're going to make either like a challenge area or discover more lore about what's going on these planets or planet or whatever. So like I'm very excited once I get my grappling hook back to kind of go through the first biome again. Even though like I've been through it every single run, it's exciting to go through it again because there's a little Metroidvania aspect to it. And also like there's items in water. Water hurts you in this game. So there must be something to either drain water or be able to go into it with a power up. So like once I get that will be exciting to then go through some of these water areas in these other biomes and kind of give you another level exploration in the biome. So I think that keeps those biomes feeling fresh as you keep progressing further and further into the game.
Did you not read the patch notes about that?
What do you mean?
They explained how to get into the water. Okay, you listen to track 2 on the first Death Clock album, and then you can go anywhere you want in there. So I watched a little bit of this game this week, and because I had seen like the trailers and stuff before, but like now that it's out, seeing like real people play it, it just kind of piqued it a little bit, and I fully have Metroid vibes watching it, and I kind of wanted, like, for me, the way that I played Bloodborne, where in my headcanon it was a Castlevania game that never got released, like this, I would totally play as, like, when this gets ported to PC, because PlayStation loves PC now and whatever, and people start injecting Metroid mods, dude. And it made me think, like, do we need a Metroid game like this? Like, that old Prime 4 that's on its way, should that be third person?
I don't know. I know. I think this game does a lot of cool things. I think one of the little learning curves with this game is just wrapping your head around all the systems, because they like just kind of throw everything at you. And that is either a good or bad thing depending on how you play. But like, you know, I kind of like that it just did that in a way in this game. I know sometimes I hate that, and other times I like it. And I think in this game it makes sense just because you're already like, what the fuck's going on? Why not have like a what the fuck moment with like all the different systems? And then speaking about that, like I think the difference between the biomes, like it's not just like, all right, well this one is the desert, but it's like the same shape. No, like they do different ways with how they build out the areas, and they're kind of samey, but like they're different, or like every time you go into the biome, it's kind of a similar layout. Like the second one, there's always going to be like this open desert area with platforms, that there's different ways to go, and then you kind of go into like a more closed-in area. Same thing with the first biome. There's like there's always consistent sections. It's just a matter of where they're at in the first one. I kind of like the difference, and like the first biome is very like linear almost, and there's a couple wider sections, but like it's very like tunnel-esque almost. The second area is very like open, like it's like a big desert. Now, like it definitely guides you into areas of like, all right, well, this is like the next section of the roguelike run or whatever. But and then like the third one I found is like very platformy, because you got the grappling hook and you can go to all these different things. So I feel like just besides the art direction and the aesthetic, like the biomes feel different themselves, which is really cool. And then with the story, I kind of got to the point where I don't think I care about Celine's background, because I think her background's going to have a lot to do with what's happening here. I don't think I kind of care about that. I'm more interested in what the fuck's going on in the world. And whenever I get the next piece of lore about the world, I think that's the cool part, because there's just so much going, like, before you're facing like these weird monsters, but now like machines are there, and you're kind of like figuring out like machines helped defend like an alien race. So like I don't know, like there's something to the world that I think is really cool, and I think that is like the story thing that's keeping me going, besides just the roguelite run and seeing how far I can go and seeing if I can actually get to the end of this game at some point. But dude, this game has legs. I wanted to address the thing I kind of left the podcast on last week. Is there a reason to skip sections, or do I have to keep exploring the first biome to then feel confident about the second one? No, they actually put things in place that make you feel competent going into the biome if you don't run all around the first biome or second biome or whatever. So I have confidence if I wanted to go straight to the third boss, Yeah, I could grind for a better weapon or for a better proficiency level on a weapon or whatever, but they give you a good enough gun where, you won't melt him as fast, but if you know the boss pattern and how to avoid things, it would be a competent fight where you're able to pull it off. So, I really like that. So you can do your fast 20-minute run to the third boss if you wanted to, or you can take your time and take 2 hours getting there. The game allows you to do that, which was a very big worry for me when I first started playing it last week.
When you wrap up with Returnal, I assume you're going to be looking for something else on your PS5 to play. I assume that you'll be excited to learn that a photo mode and the brand new All-Star Pass have been added to Destruction All-Stars. Is that enough to get you excited for the game?
That game has potential. I'm not going to shit on it because there are cool things that game does, but one of the best, it's pretty sad. One of the best things that game did was allow the hot mic on the controller, and you just got into a lobby where everyone was just yelling and no one was aware they were yelling.
That's pretty good.
When they patched that out, that kind of ruined a lot of the fun of that game for me.
Yeah.
But no,
the developer
I was gonna say that game,
Lucid Games.
Oh, I was gonna say that game was like a Twisted Metal game that would be really good. Its art style and design in that regard is his worst enemy.
I wonder if we get another Twisted Metal game as they develop that TV show. But
I hope.
Lucid Games has announced or published a roadmap for content that will run through July 7th, including some new characters with backstories. It seems like you'll be able to go through like a story mode with each of these characters. I almost removed this news story from our lineup, but I figured I know that you were at least like, it was on your radar. I didn't know if this kind of brought it closer or further away, and it sounds like it's kind of right where it's been.
I don't think I deleted it. Is that telling? That
okay.
I don't think I deleted it when I had to make room for Village.
Yeah. Well, are you going to make room later this fall for Back for Blood, which I know has been long awaited by many, but Mark especially. Turtle Rock developers behind the original Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. I believe this was already known that Back for Blood was going to have a card system, but they went into further detail about how it works. But I don't think we've talked about the card system. So they announced that there will be pre-made decks if you don't want to actually make your own deck. But as you play, you will earn cards. There's no way to buy cards individually, so no line it up at a Target at 8 a.m. every other Friday. Nothing like that. But you'll earn cards, and then they kind of give you different boosts. So maybe it's a healing card. Maybe it's something to give you better melee attack or something like that. Mark, I know that card systems are not... They don't get a big fat TM above them when they're added to a video game. So how does something like this getting added or implemented in Back for Blood affect you? Or
I mean, I guess it all depends on the game itself and how it's all being utilized. I'm not really like against card systems. It did seem very weird at first for a game like this to have that. I was like, what are they doing? Is this going to be like is this how they're going to make money off the game? Like, are they going to sell this for like real money? And then the trailer breaks down how it all works, and for the most part, I'm actually kind of intrigued. This didn't really leave a sour taste in my mouth like I thought it was going to. I'm kind of... Yeah, like, I still don't exactly prefer it, but I'm definitely open to trying it out and seeing, how it will keep me going or what, or like what decks to make with whatever character I like and so on.
Yeah.
But they said on their website, they stated that they're not selling these for real money. You don't have to worry about that. Everything will be earned in the game or whatever. And the only things you'll end up buying are like cosmetic stuff. So I was like, all right, that's not too bad. That seems to make a lot of sense. I think that's a good direction.
Is Warner Brothers publishing this?
That sounds right.
So that takes me to something I've been playing this week, which is also very bloody. called Mortal Kombat 11. So I bought that Ultimate Edition on Series X, and it came with everything except for the Halloween costumes, which I had to buy separately so I can dress Jade up like a witch. But I forgot about the gear system in that game that they kind of brought in. It is Warner Brothers, Matt. Thank you.
Yep.
So this is the thing I'm worried about with Back 4 Blood, is the gear system in Mortal Kombat is painstaking. You get so much of it from the crypt. You get a lot of gear, but like it takes a long time. And I guess the idea is if you're playing the game, then you're going to get stuff. And maybe the level at which I'm playing Mortal Kombat is not, I'm not yielding whatever. Because I love the idea of unlocking stuff and being able to customize things to fit your playstyle, your desires, your preferences, whatever. But I also worry if I'm not playing this every single night, am I going to get the cards that the field advantage? But I guess you're not really head to head with people in Back 4 Blood.
I guess not, unless they had an option where you could play as the infected or whatever. But I think there's also something with like the pacing of a game too that kind of adds to like, is this worth grinding for? Is this worth doing? And like fighting games, it seems like it seems like a shoo-in idea that you would want to keep going. But for me, it's like, because of how short a match can be, it can also feel years long because I know I have to keep doing this over and over. Back 4 Blood might seem like, if it's going a Left 4 Dead route, it seems like, it'll take a little longer to do everything, but there's enough stuff to do and to deal with on the fly where it's like, it won't feel exactly the same every time as to like trying to do the same combo with the character against people and hope you win. I don't know. That's just how it makes sense to me.
This does have a PvP mode.
It does. Okay. Nice.
I hope they have a bug where you can block an elevator with a forklift.
We're going to talk about E3 in a moment before we head to break, but talking about Back 4 Blood and unlocks and talking about Mortal Kombat brings me to something I want to present to the both of you and hear your opinions. I've been playing Mortal Kombat, and I replayed through the story mode and started the Aftermath because I hadn't played that. And in doing so, I'm like, all of this is leading to where is Injustice 3, right? So then I do the thing that most of us do, which is, y'all got any news about Injustice 3? And there is a leak, supposed leak. Do you know about this already?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so remember... Okay, I'm going to take it... this leak, the original leak, came from early 2020. Before we were locked down anything. And the leak said that there would be a new Batman game announced and released, that there would be a Harry Potter game announced and released in 2021, that there would be Resident Evil 8 that took place in Europe in a castle with there's a whole list of all of these games. And the other one on there is a AAA fighting game featuring DC and Marvel characters developed by NetherRealm. So the idea is that Injustice 3 is not just Injustice 3, it's Marvel versus DC.
Wow.
And it's got me very twisted. And I need your guys' help.
Wait,
so
what?
One,
No, it wouldn't be Marvel. It would be DC versus Mortal Kombat. You said Marvel versus DC.
No, that's yeah.
What do you mean Marvel versus? Oh,
Marvel. The Spider-Man.
It's happened before.
Yes, it has. But for it to happen in this regard would be weird. So I don't know. What do you guys think of a Marvel versus DC in NetherRealm developed game?
I mean, it'd be cool, but how? Who is going to give them the right to make an original story with these two, like totally different IPs, and they're each going to want to be the winner? Like, there's so much bullshit that is going to go into that. Like, oh well, we have to be equally represented because we don't want to make it look like DC superheroes are better than Marvel, or vice versa.
They could go the mid '90s route where they do the amalgam comics, and you end up with Dark Claw and
Yes.
yeah, that's the only one I remember is Dark Claw. But yeah, they all merge into one character. But yeah, you're right. I don't know what they do with the story mode. Maybe the story mode ends where they everybody's happy. Everybody's
They shake hands, slap each other on the back, saying "Good job." Thumbs
the
up.
heroes come together to take out the villains, right?
Yeah, but whose villains are better, DC's or Marvel's? You see, look, those dumb boardroom meetings.
It was for what the comic was as a kid. That's all. Like I read that a lot. Like I just looked through the pages a lot.
Yeah.
Because I had all those action figures, and now I would make them fight each other. So like, it doesn't seem too out of the ordinary. Like it's just all those talks you would have at school with friends about like who could beat who, and if that does end up becoming a game, it would be cool to see if they took some beats from that comic, because some of those characters like they got along, like some of them like were actually friends, or at first they were fighting, like Batman versus Captain America. It was like pretty much even for the most part, but Batman said like if this one thing didn't happen, like he probably would have been defeated because, super soldier or whatever. Right. So, like, those weird things get in the way, too. What was it? I think, like, Nightwing and Gambit, I think, were, like, kind of like...
I could see that, but I could also see Nightwing and Peter doing...
Yeah, like, Jubilee and Tim Drake had, like a love thing going on.
That's pretty good.
So, like... But then, you had, like, those weird, like, Thanos versus Darkseid things, or... I don't know what they could do. It would be wacky overall, of course.
Well, so here's the thing, though. So if we look at one, I think Mortal Kombat. I'm curious to see how Aftermath wraps up in terms of story. But the end of Mortal Kombat 11, straight up, like they set it up so they could just reboot the whole thing, right? Mm. They can do whatever the heck they want. I don't know what's happening in Aftermath for sure, but it seems like they're still kind of Aftermath so far. I'll say this: they're doing a thing where some other characters came in and said, I think it's known that it's Shang Tsung from all the preview stuff, but Shang Tsung is like, hey, all that stuff you did to stop the end of whatever from happening and resetting the timeline, you got to actually do this specific thing to stop this thing from stopping that thing from happening to happen from stopping it. So it's that whole whatever, and let's resurrect Sindel. So they're poised for a Mortal Kombat reboot with 12 rather. But Injustice, the last game, really tied into multiverse stuff, and of course DC's whole thing now is let's embrace the multiverse. So I could totally see them with Injustice 3 or whatever this is just saying, hey, we were using Batman's brother eye technology to look across the multiverse, and we found this multiverse over on this yonder. What's got all these other people? So I could see story-wise them making it work, and they can do a whole thing and invasion. It could all be cool. All right, my final question for that is, because I think we can build the roster pretty easily. It's pretty straightforward. I don't care about DC. I don't care about Marvel right now.
Which Mortal Kombat
Who are the guest characters?
Oh,
huh?
I was going to say, which Mortal Kombat character?
There you go, right? So which guest characters end up in this? I've got a couple of answers that I think it'd be rad, but I want to hear from you guys. It sucks that the Turtles are in the last one. Hopefully they can make that happen again, because that would be very good.
Or bring in Casey Jones. That's fine too.
Yeah.
Though I don't really see that happening. So, like, it makes me think, if it's a guest character, I'm thinking, like, other comic books that aren't exactly Marvel or DC. Maybe branches off from those. Maybe you could get a Watchmen character. Maybe there's something from Image. Like, maybe you do get a Rick Grimes. Maybe, like, or Invincible.
I was gonna say, like, does Marvel include the X-Men in that case? If not, do you bring in like a Wolverine or like a Cyclops or like?
I think game purposes wise, X-Men should probably be included. They make the cut in all of the in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, right?
Yeah.
Do they? Okay.
So they're probably in there, but yeah.
But like that's another thing to think about if that's the case. I don't know. Like, I think what Mark said, like other comics, but that don't necessarily fall into the Marvel or DC core realm, I think make a lot of sense. I'm trying to think of something weird, like video game related. Oh, like I don't know.
Garfield.
I could totally see them doing like a Cole.
Oh, from Infamous. Yeah. They did Kratos in MK9, and that was cool. I saw some fan casting where someone was very much pushing the Green Power Ranger. Tommy in there.
Huh.
I also saw Space Ghost recommended, and then
Oh,
I
yeah, there we go.
I
Now
wasn't
we're
just looking
talking.
at Mark's feed.
Space Ghost.
Yeah, but I also feel like you could get away with like something like that, or some other like weird.
The Phantom.
Yeah, right, like that, or like an Astro Boy or something like that. Not that would make total sense, but like just start pulling in some other like superhero adjacent characters. Like if they're gonna go that way, go that way. You know, I think it did a good job with the DLC and Injustice 2, fleshing it out and pulling it from some different spaces. But
was Ash ever a character in any of these?
no, which is weird because
would
what's
be
his
perfect.
face did that whole thing. So I don't know.
I think they should go really weird with it and bring in Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. But he's grown up for this game, or not. And he has his different costumes as different characters, but specifically Spaceman Spiff. And he has his ray gun, and he can send out like a realistic tiger. They did it in Tekken kind of with the tiger stuff, but
No, the tiger would be good because they don't have a good.
I know what you do. The
Dilbert.
Powerpuff Girls, dude.
See, this is the kind of creativity I'm talking about.
there you go.
They got
Powerpuff.
You got that show coming to CW.
Exactly.
So, yeah, thinking like politics wise, it's already on CW, which is Warner Brothers. It's going to end up on HBO Max at some point. Like boom, 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 boom.
I'm sure, like, if you look at the core cast, they could always use some girls, especially DLC, to even it out. Dude, yeah.
Ooh.
They're a shoe-in.
Buffy.
Buffy is a
See?
good one, too. Yeah.
Yes.
Another
Yes.
former CW, former WB
Would she make more sense for Mortal Kombat 12? Which doesn't matter because Spawn makes more sense for Injustice, and he ended up in Mortal Kombat 11. So,
Well, I mean, Spawn also taps into like that, like Scorpion, like aura about him.
yeah.
So
you're
like
not wrong.
he fits the Mortal Kombat vibe, I think.
Yeah.
Or, like,
Buffy's a little comical, like a little more cheesy
that's
side.
who's that weird blood character? Scarlet Witch? Or not sorry, that's a superhero. The one from Mortal Kombat, the new one.
Scarlet.
Is this just Scarlet? Like, they could
Yeah.
do like this cool character trailer where Scarlet's coming to Infamous for whatever reason, and at the very end, Buffy comes in and hits her with the stake right in the heart,
Yes.
turns her to ash, and you're like, oh, hey, by the way, Buffy's in I keep saying Infamous, Injustice.
Yeah. I mean, dude, we're getting into Fortnite territory, but why not, right? Like, if they can pull all this crap
Dude,
off
what if
and do it,
the generic dude from Fortnite's in it, dude?
I won't buy it. That's-
Agent Jones.
yeah.
Is that his
Sure
name?
is.
Does he have a name?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, maybe we'll find out more about Injustice 3 or whatever the future of that is at E3 this year. I sure am hopeful. We already know Warner Brothers is going to be there along with Ubisoft, Capcom, Take-Two Entertainment, Nintendo, and Xbox. And this week, the ESA confirmed a handful of other companies that will be there. Square Enix and Bandai Namco Entertainment. Gearbox Entertainment will be there. Everybody's favorite Verizon will be there. Devious Eye Entertainment, Turtle Beach, Verizon Freedom Games will be there. Binge and Xseed. So they've got a little bit of a show planned. Couple weeks out, we're going to do E3 predictions, but anything you guys are like hopeful for, scared we're not going to see, or
I want to see. I think the most interesting thing is I feel like I say this every E3. Microsoft's press conference is always like the most compelling for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
this year, do they fold Bethesda into their whole thing, or do they let Bethesda have enough of a leash where they have their own thing? Like that's a very weird dynamic now.
Yeah, we got to tweet at Phil Spencer and let him know to bring back Quake. I'd like to see Quake at E3.
At Microsoft.
Mark, anything you're like?
We believe in Quake.
Yes, we do.
I mean, I'm kind of glad that I'm, like, as the years go, I'm kind of not knowing what to expect more and more. You know, unless, like, something gets announced and it's like, all right, is it going to be this year? Is it going to be this year?
Or Walmart Canada beats you to the punch.
Yeah. But for some reason, the first thing that came to mind, I kind of would like to see more from Hellblade.
Yeah, no, where's that game at?
What happened to that one, man?
They got that shiny new studio, then they weren't allowed in it because of COVID.
True. Well, we still have a couple of news stories and a couple things to talk about here on the other side, but we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Electronic Arts has acquired Canada-based studio and Super Mega Baseball franchise developer Metalhead Software. Announced this week, EA's sports brand will be working with Metalhead Software to grow the Super Mega Baseball franchise and develop new gaming and sports experiences. Quotes from both sides of it. They're all very excited to be a part of the same team now. Pun intended. Matt, does this mean anything?
It might, because I don't think there's like an exclusive thing with MLB and the show like EA has with Madden and the NFL license. So I think that the Super Mega Baseball team just didn't want to go out for that license, probably because of a lot of, you know, lawyer fees and all the stuff that leads into getting a license like that. EA, on the other hand, has the power to probably acquire that license. They've had it before. They've actually made very good MVP baseball games back in the day. So yeah, I think there's something there. I think they're 2 years too late because they needed the year to get development happening, and now that MLB The Show is officially cross-platform, that is the game to beat as far as a baseball simulation. Now, they want to go a different route with it. That's fine, but I think they're going to need to go a different route. I don't think you'll want to compete head-to-head in a simulation-based game when that is San Diego Studios' bread and butter, and they have delivered again this year.
To be honest, for me, I played some of that MLB The Show with it on Game Pass, and it was so slow for what I wanted, which could have been the wrong week to play it, because that was when I was, let's try all that stuff at 120 frames a second. Not specifically that baseball was not running at a good frame rate. What I mean, though, is like I was playing Titanfall and stuff like that was like adrenaline, and then I'm like,
taking
it's
pitches.
been 30 minutes and 2 innings went by. Like,
Yep.
yeah, so...
yeah, I mean, there's definitely an arcade thing there to be filled.
Yeah.
I know
I can't tell you how many times I've almost bought those Konami baseball games on my Japanese Switch account just to like have a good baseball game to play that's a little more fun, a goofy ball.
Yeah, and I know those I think we played them once for a video for the website one time.
Yeah.
I mean, it does get into the simulation stuff, but I feel like you could easily like let off that pedal a little bit and become something different while maintaining like its core, core gameplay. So, yeah, no, I think that's an interesting purchase for EA, and I think they want to get back into the baseball scene now that they know that, now that they see MLB helping with publishing rights and things like that. So, yeah, it's interesting, for sure.
I spent some time with an EA property this week I want to talk about for a moment, because a week ago, I said to the two of you, I think off air, what is Peggle and should I play it? Because I was looking for a puzzle game to get into. And I just jumped in last week, and as of this morning, I'm like 3 levels left. I'm on the final... There's 10 main things in adventure mode, and then I beat all of those, and then there's like, okay, this is the final round, and there's 5 more stages to go through. Peggle is amazing. And everyone listening should play Peggle. It is $4.99 through backwards compatibility, or it's on Game Pass. Go play Peggle. You have a pinball, that you shoot from the top of the screen in any direction you choose. And then on the actual screen, there are little nodes, all little pegs. Most of them are blue. Some of them are orange. You need to get rid of the orange ones in order to pass the level. You have 10 balls. There's so much of it where there is a bit of skill involved, but so much of it is left up to random chance that it's a perfect PopCap game, because that's what it is. It's PopCap, right? So it's definitely like got that mobile idea to it where it's like anybody can play. There's enough of it that'll like kind of make it, you want to keep coming back even though you're probably, there are ways they could make this bad, right? And I'm sure that by the time we get to Peggle 3 that they did make this bad. But this first one, it's like seeing the ball fall down and the like some of the combos you can get and things like that. And there's like just constant little like melatonin drip, or is that the one? Whatever the one is. And each stage also has green pegs that are special pegs that grant you some specific ability. So depending on which level you're in, you'll get a different kind of like bonus power. So like the one with a gopher is multi-ball. So if you hit the green, your ball splits into two and then just starts taking out as many as it can. In the spooky haunted level, it becomes a ghost ball. And if it falls off the bottom of the screen, it comes back down from the top of the screen one time before, whatever. So there's different power-ups. And then you have at the bottom, there's a little like catcher that moves back and forth. And if your ball falls in that, it's free ball. So you can kind of like, if you're smart and you know where you're shooting, there's a bit of random chaos that happens, and just being on the very specific edge of a specific peg might end up shooting your ball in a completely different direction. But there's always that possibility that like, okay, if I shoot it here, it'll fall in the right way and I can get a free, keep going. Super satisfying, super fun. And in the week since starting, they've added Quick Resume to it on Xbox Series X. So, or I guess Series S and X. It's made it even easier just to jump back in where I left off, which is cool. I'm excited. I can't wait to play Peggle 2 and see what else is in store. But that is, yes.
Would you have wanted to go back in time when Peggle 2 got announced at E3 so you could be in that crowd and be as happy as that guy that announced it?
Yes.
He's like, Peggle 2! Yeah!
I remember like, that and being like, man, people really like Peggle. And I was like, oh, wait, no, now I get it, dude. Because it's really, really... Did they make a 3? Or was I dreaming that? Or was 2 the one that everybody...
I think 2 was the one that blew up everywhere.
Yeah, but that one, I'm super excited to see what else there is. Although maybe 2 is the one that ended up not being so hot. But this first one's really good. There is a $5 DLC that if 2 sucks, I will end up buying for 1.
I don't think 2 is bad. I have a friend who played it quite a lot.
Good. I'm good. I'm glad to hear that because it's fun. I miss games like that, man. Like, there's that Xbox Live Arcade era of games that were just like... Yes. Just something about it, man. Like, the UI and the aesthetic, it's very 2008, 9, whatever, but it's good. Very good. Nintendo has been operating a bit like 2008 or 9 with its sales success of the Nintendo Switch, and is currently working on its successor? Headline grab, you know what I'm saying? This week, Nintendo had its quarterly update, or I believe this is actually the annual investor financial report. And we got to see results on sales. We also saw there's a Q&A section that right now is not published in English. It'll probably be up in a couple of days. But some folks who were on the call or have looked at the Japanese listings have translated bits of it that might be of interest. I think a big thing that kind of came out of this was the number of Switches sold is now 84.9 million, which is a big number. Animal Crossing New Horizons hit 34 or 35 million in that time too, so that's like about a third attach rate. So 1 in every 3 Switches people are playing Animal Crossing, or people have bought Animal Crossing for, I should say. But something that came up during the Q&A section was the amount spent on R&D, which was $880 million approximately, more than in any prior year for the 12 months that ended on March 31st, 2021. Nintendo reportedly said the main reason for the increased R&D budget was that software and outsourcing costs are increasing for Switch. However, they said that they're also investing in online, and they're looking to invest in its next game platform too, which will continue to follow the company's integrated hardware and software strategy. Shintaro Furukawa, current president, said that Nintendo does not have a specific time frame in mind for its hardware development, because of course they believe the Switch right now is at its midway point in the life cycle, but rather it is constantly researching technology in a bid to create new experiences. The hardware and software development teams are in the same building, communicating closely and thinking about how we can propose new forms of entertainment. In order to create a single piece of hardware, we have to do a lot of preparation several years in advance, so we are working without stopping. In the end, the deciding factor in whether or not to commercialize a product is whether it can create a new experience. What does that mean to you guys? What do you, like, obviously if this was something super easy to solve, we would be working at Nintendo or not doing what we're doing. But as we move forward, let me phrase it differently. I think that what we came to expect as the main three platform holders has been shaken up quite a bit. Obviously, as Sega died, we had to get used to a different three platform holders. That was a fun joke, just to call back. No, but I mean, between Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, since the Wii era, we saw the Wii kind of blow up huge with the casual market, and then the phone market ate all of that market right up. And you did have some conversion where people stuck around, but obviously those would have gone into more PS or Xbox, and Xbox tried to capitalize that at the beginning of the One by saying, hey, everybody who's used to having video game boxes at your TV, maybe buy this one.
TV,
Call of Duty, TV,
Connect,
TV. But I think now we're in even a much different place than we were a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 10, or whatever, where I think even PlayStation and Xbox are not so much competitors anymore. They are, of course, but I feel Xbox is competing more with Netflix than they are with Sony, and Nintendo is competing more with
itself.
Yeah, in a way, right? So what does another Nintendo console look like for you guys? Does it stop being a hybrid? Is there no future without a hybrid concept? Like, what else is... What do you think, Mark?
They're finally going to add a vitality sensor that's effective and working. That's where all the R&D money is going into. This also means that they announced Breath of the Wild 2 way too early, because that's going to be the system's launch title. So we have another 5 or 7 years, maybe 10 down the line. So just give up now.
Well, Microsoft thought that game was coming last year, so who knows?
We all thought that.
I didn't. I didn't.
I think they want to really utilize the phone more than making a handheld system, like, dedicated. That's the vibe I'm getting. Like, I know this online thing is just so wacky and, like, stupid, and we don't, like, nobody wants to use it at all for the right reasons. But I think the Switch is just another, like, stepping stone testing phase for what they really want to do. And I think I don't think they want to get rid of handheld entirely. I think they still want to do something, but it might be more cost effective to just have people use their phones more than making something that can benefit both parties of playing at home and on the go. I don't know. Like, I could definitely see it going down that route, but then again, who knows? They could make some device that you, like, build from the ground up, and then you have to install a screen. Like, just do it yourself. I don't.
Yeah. With the way they've gone, Matt, any?
I think they stick with the hybrid thing, because I know you're saying Xbox is competing more with Netflix, and part of that makes me think it's true. But, like, I think the other part of it is they're still very much competing with one another, and I feel like if Nintendo entered that ring, power to power, they don't. They kind of try that with the Wii U almost when they went to, like, 1080p. And I mean, there was other issues with the Wii U, considering it was a Fisher Price toy, but like, no one ever made games for it because it was underpowered and stuff like that. I think they stay hybrid. I think it's as easy as making it 4K. Their successor. I don't know if you could call it a Switch 2. I guess that's where the midway through the life cycle thing comes in. Like, what did they consider a Switch life cycle? Like, do they incorporate the 4K into the family, or do they deem that as the next cycle? I think that's...
I think the 4K Switch is still a Switch.
Okay.
What they're building now is what comes 2025, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they gotta stay in their niche, and like they can't go full mobile because the mobile... Like the 3DS, and it's too close to a phone in terms of like going mobile in that direction. They don't want to make a phone. That's like the last thing you want to do when Apple and Samsung dominate that market. And then you can't go full console because I feel like unless they want to make this powerful thing that mimics a computer, I don't think that's their avenue either. I don't know if that's what they're good at. I think they're good at making this weird niche product that when it does well, it blows up. And I think they need to figure out what the next niche thing is. I think staying as a hybrid is a very good move, and I can see that being like a future-proof move, staying between the two markets.
I think the thing that's exciting about Nintendo is that we could... I bet we're hitting on things that they've talked about, but then when they actually announce whatever it is, it will A, make so much sense, and B, we'll wonder why we never thought of it. Just like the Switch, just like the Wii U. I remember all those years Matt said, like, boy, this is exactly what I dreamed of. But yeah, it's been that way since the Wii, I think, both handheld and not, I guess since the DS, really. So, yeah, I think the thing that they probably are thinking of is what is the problem that they try to solve, right? That's how all Nintendo hardware has always been. Back to the Game Boy, when Gunpei Yokoi was staring at a guy playing on a calculator. Not a game, just playing on his calculator, and he said, oh, what if there were games for something like that? You know, and I think that it can build from there.
An interesting way to go is like a cellular model. I know, like, the Vita... Or was it the PSP? No, the Vita tried it and it failed, but that was just because 3G is not LTE, and even LTE, I mean, it's doable, but with 5G being developed, and in 5 years' time, that could be something that's a lot more mainstream than what it is right now. Like, you know, looking into that again, possibly, just because, like, a phone is never going to have buttons again. Like a possible piece of hardware, like gaming hardware, is always going to have buttons on it, and I think that is something to maybe think about. If they can improve their online infrastructure, that's like the first thing, but maybe hopefully that's what they're trying to do in the next 3 years, and then...
Well, that and streaming technology is going to come a long way in a couple of years.
That was the other point I was going to make. They are already doing the cloud stuff in Japan. Like Resident Evil 7 is cloud-based, right? Like they're Phantasy Star Online, cloud-based. Like they're already doing it. They already have some of the legwork in there that makes that kind of stuff appealing.
And they just updated their online infrastructure, right? Like that, like the servers
like
or whatever. Didn't they update
the back
that?
end.
Sorry, the back end.
No, that shit still doesn't work right on the front end.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, I will say, playing Monster Hunter Rise, like, I've never, ever had a problem, and B, any experience like the Splatoon experience, where you're playing and then, you know, disconnected, or any of that stuff that we'd run into, because you play Splatoon for a couple hours, it takes a while to load into a lobby, it takes a while to do this, and it forever, and then all of a sudden it's just like, system error has occurred. Where Monster Hunter Rise, I've never had a system error occur. I've seamlessly jumped in with people, and we've had no hiccups, or it's been great. So, if that's what the precedent is moving forward, then great. I'm excited about Splatoon 3. And if not, maybe people can make the games for us, because Nintendo also announced Game Builder Garage, set to release this June. Kind of taking their Labo approach to the game design. It's kind of like, what if you did Labo and Mario Maker, I guess? But you can share out games that you make. There's going to be a separate downloader that you can just play the games that people make. This seems really cool, but I also... It's the the same thing with Dreams, the same thing with Unity going free and all this stuff. Like, do you pick a lane or how do you pick a lane? And I don't know. I think it's cool though. I think this is a huge push for the younger market. I think kids will flock to this thing.
I think the download thing being free is huge because that's one of Dreams' problems is the download stuff. There's a cost to there's a barrier of entry there. Which like if you made that free, then why not make the dev stuff free? Like there's a lot of issues with that, but like I think that's one of Dreams' problems. Also being so late in the PS4 life cycle with no like official PS5 like update, or no one's talked about the game since launch in my zeitgeist. So
yeah.
I don't know.
No, but this is the last RPG Maker on 3DS did this, where it was you had a separate, maybe a couple of them have, but you had a separate thing where you could just play people's RPGs for free, which was such a cool idea. Also, kind of like announced, and it was slipped in as part of the financial report. Just looking ahead at the games coming out, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 coming to Switch officially on June 25th. So I might double dip. I don't know there. Not sure. On the other side of the fence, in terms of partnerships and things to look forward to, PlayStation announced a partnership with Discord. This is right in the wake of that Discord acquisition talk that ended. But Jim Ryan announced via the SIE blog, Sony Interactive Entertainment blog, that they're excited to announce a new partnership with Discord. Together, both teams are already hard at work connecting Discord with social and gaming experiences on PlayStation Network. The goal is to bring Discord and PlayStation experiences closer together on console and mobile starting early next year, allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, and communicate more easily while playing games together. I wonder if this is just the first of these to happen. Like, do you guys get the sense this is exclusive to PlayStation, or do you think that other platforms will start to adopt this?
It gave me like kind of like semi-exclusive feelings at first, just because what happened with Microsoft, and they're like, it's like it made it seem like Discord went on a date with Microsoft, and Microsoft was like, yeah, so I had fun. I would like to see you again. And they're like, all right, yeah, we should, we can text. And then just gets ghosted immediately after, goes on a date with Sony and just hits it off. That's what it felt like from the distance.
Yeah, I got that vibe too when I first read it. I don't know. I'm hopeful maybe that this is something to we need like a unified platform between all these things.
Yeah.
And I know that Discord's grown to be much more than just a let's chat with our gamer friends, but
I'm also glad it's with Sony, I guess specifically for my situation, because I had that issue with Dead by Daylight. There was no cross-chat. So hopefully this fixes that problem. Yeah. Where everybody can just be on Discord, because that's a better party option.
So, yeah, now the last problem is Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah. So another thing, we didn't talk about any of this stuff this week, but the Epic and Apple lawsuit is currently happening, and there's been a lot of weird little things coming out of some of the internal documents from that. But one weird thing that came up was about and Matt, fill in the gap for me because I might be wrong here, or Mark, one of you guys told me this, that PlayStation charges devs for crossplay support.
Yeah, that was one of those things. I think I saw the headline and I did not read it, and some people on Twitter were talking about it.
From my understanding, in order for a developer to implement crossplay in a game, there's an extra fee they have to pay to be licensed on PlayStation platform.
I believe
that came out of those court documents. So I think there's going to be more stuff like that, and that's the part of what we talked about earlier with like everyone kind of dividing the competition and like who they're actually competing with. I think stuff like this is still where the competition lies, is like in services and support. And I don't know.
Yeah, the games industry biz is pretty much saying that they're doing it, and Tim Sweeney claims that Sony is the only platform holder to do this.
Yeah.
So Weird. One thing with the Discord partnership is Sony invested a minority stake in it, just like they did with Epic and Fortnite. So like I don't know what's going to happen with the future of Discord. I mean, obviously they're not the overwhelming majority owner, so they can't say, if they say nah in a board, in a board meeting, it's not like their no might not stand. But I don't know. I don't know if Microsoft feels burned in any way. I mean, we know these things happen, like the evaluation, because Discord even said it was like there was part of their round H investment, round H investment round or something like that, and Sony was part of it. So, like I guess they got their evaluation from Microsoft, took it to the people invested, and that's how they figured out how to divvy up the shares or whatever. But I don't know if Microsoft feels burned by that or not.
You think we'll ever get Discord on Switch?
Fuck no.
Well, there you have it.
No, you gotta suffer through that app. That's why I said trust me, I knew Switch was still a thing when I said the last problem is Microsoft and Sony together.
I don't want you guys to hang up. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I am shocked though that Discord and PlayStation is partnering with Discord though, because they seem like they made the communities thing a big deal natively inside PlayStation's UI for PlayStation 5. If you remember that.
I thought they removed it.
Did they?
I don't. Well, sorry. It may be a thing in PS5, but as part of that announcement that that Jim Ryan was taking the PS3 and Vita stores out back to shoot them, communities is also dying, as well as the native ability to message on Vita. Or they also didn't they get rid of the Messages app last year? They finally brought it back under
under the same umbrella.
Yeah, I think communities is dying.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I remember that being a thing, like with the first PlayStation 5 UI thing, them going into, it was like the tiles was the cards or whatever was the big thing.
Yeah, that, yeah.
And then also like how your community hangouts with your friends. And
yeah, I remember that. I think maybe that's the future of it, where communities, that thing
maybe I'm using the wrong term.
Before you guys run from my community and hang up this call, I want to talk about Pokemon, the trading card game online. I was first introduced to this by one Mark Augustiniak way back in 2014. And
was it me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because you came to the podcast one week and I said, "What have you been playing?" And you were like, "Pokemon cards." And it was like the cards, and you were like, "Nope, there's an online version." And I was baffled that I had not heard of it. And you're like, "Yeah, it's been out for a while." And it had been 3 years at that point.
What have I done?
Yeah, I know. It's your fault. So I got into this in a good way this week. It's been not unlike Peggle, where it's let me just play something in between some other things. It's been nice, while I'm cooking, I'll just play a game, or those little things like that you can kind of pop in. The downside is it's only on iPad and obviously desktops, but not on phone, so it's not as accessible. If it were on a phone, man, good night. But even iPad, it's pretty good. And I've gotten to the point now where I'm I've earned a lot of boosters just by playing and by sometimes winning, but really there's a battle pass, for lack of a better term. We'll call it a Pokemon, but let's call it a nose pass. We good with that? Can we all agree on that? You got a nose pass down there, and it's if you get lightning, which is it's a non whatever currency, but it's by playing you're earning lightning, and then by winning you get more of that currency, but it's just a little lightning bolt to denote how many you have. And the little pass has I want to say they run in 10-day chunks or something like that. So you have 10 days to get as far as you can. And everything you do contributes to that little meter. And some of it might be the Poke coins you get. Some of it might be an actual booster. The other day I unlocked a chest, and inside the chest was a ton of coins and a booster. So there's stuff like that you'll earn as you play along anyway, just by playing. But winning also grants you, there's a separate pass that levels up. So for getting one win, I unlocked a mystery box, and inside was a booster. By getting 2 more wins, so 3 total, I got another mystery box. And like that stuff starts to stack. So you have to like win more to earn more, but I'm earning cards, I'm earning boosters, I'm earning coins, and I'm like really close to being able to just buy like a pre-made deck. Apparently what I understand is in this game you want to take those boosters and then look for somebody who's offering up a card you want and trade them a booster pack for it. That's the currency, is you get rid of a booster for a single card. But I like opening the cards, so it's a lot of fun to see what you get. And I'm also still like fleshing out my deck. But I really, I'm enjoying it. I like the deck building aspect because there's an automated deck manager where you can say, I think I talked about this last week a little bit, where you can say like, I want to play expanded, so I want to be able to play from what's current and what's, a few packs or a few sets back. And I want to build a deck that is dark only. And then it just spits out dark type cards and you can choose 2 of your favorites and then it'll build a deck around those. And what's cool about that is, in addition to the little battle pass and all the other stuff, there's also daily challenges you get. And you can have up to 3 once you reach a certain level. Right now I have 2 per day. So I had one where it was like knock out 12 opposing Pokemon with electric type Pokemon. And then another one that was like play evolved versions of dark type cards 10 times or something. So I have a dark deck and I have an electric deck that I was playing through until I got those challenges leveled all the way up. And when you get those challenges done, you either get Pokecoins or you get booster packs. It's just fun in that regard that you're like constantly earning things and seeing the art leveling up. And I love that I don't have to spend extra money on it, but it also makes me want to go spend real money on real cards and then get the in-game thing and all that fun stuff. But it's cool. So, if you guys are looking for something to do, the PC, Mac client are both out there. It's on iPad. We can play together. I still, on my friends list, I still have Merpston.
That name.
Yeah. And I got Kyle on there too from way back in the day.
Did they ever update the like avatar maker?
No.
Man, like that in Pokemon Go, man, they need to like really update that shit.
Awful. It's awful.
It looks like a bad Cartoon Network reject show. Like
it's really bad. The cool thing about it though is I have a female avatar because the only beard option is just like a chin strap.
Mm.
And so I was like, I'll just go the other way. Works in my favor because I've been playing online a whole bunch. And I think all these little kids think they're playing with like some girl. So they send me like little heart emojis and stuff like that. Cause you have like very limited like pre-built chat options. But like when they go to hit me, they send like a heartbreak and like a sad face. Like they're sorry for hitting me. And then I write back like with a little like sad face. And then they like pull their punches a little bit. So, just manipulating.
Playing the meta.
You got little kids taking their shots.
That's the one, man. You gotta take the shot.
One of those kids is gonna have a podcast, and they're gonna talk about how they almost met the love of their life through Pokemon cards.
Yeah,
and it was you.
Oh man, the free cheese had such a terrible deck, but she was real hot.
Yeah, like you're gonna be the one. You're gonna be the one that got away.
Yeah, was real hot. Give me my avatar.
She had bare feet.
I do. I'm gonna send you a screenshot when we're done. Sticking on bare feet. Come on.
Well, one, I'm sorry I won't be joining you because it sounds like I'm doing the exact same thing, but just in a baseball game. So I'm going to continue that journey.
Yeah. I honestly though, if you are ever like, if you ever hit the point where like, I want to,
I've definitely poked at it before.
Yeah, if you're like, I want to play Pokemon cards and I obviously can't find them, I think it's a really, really good little game. I'm surprised it's still working the way it is. I'm so surprised the client it looks exactly the same as it did when Mark first told me about it 8 years ago. But it still performs. It runs like you expect it to perform. It's super good.
I wish Digimon had a card game like that.
So that's the other thing I've heard is that those boosters are going for $20 a pop now for Digimon. As they've started to show up in little bits here and there.
I hate
that new set that came out that you bought. You can buy the boosters for $5 and sell them for $20. So,
fucking
I thought you were going to say that was the 5th game that was in that leak you talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
There's the Digimon.
Please, any Digimon Survive news out there? Please. I need it.
Hey, Bandai's at E3. I'm very curious to see what E3 looks like and what we end up.
That game needs to survive.
What the rest of 2021 looks like. I'm very worried.
Ratchet and Clank, dude, and Horizon maybe.
And then what? You know what I mean? Like a lot of the games that were already like way in development, I think are going to make it, but some of those other ones that were like just kind of getting going at the beginning of 2020, like how much? It's going to be interesting. As are the next 25 weeks as we continue down the journey of Game of the Year and more. Next week, I'm sure we'll have more on Returnal and NieR Replicant and Resident Evil Village. Yeah, all that and more as we continue forward. Mark, what are you jumping into this week?
Exactly what you said. I'm gonna try to finish up the endings with NieR. And yeah, Village is taking up most of my time probably.
Are you planning on grabbing those Famicom detective games at all?
Oh shit, yeah. That's like I still have time for that, right? Like when is that?
Friday.
Oh.
I know because I just canceled my pre-orders. Not because I don't want them, but I was like, dude.
You don't want another Monster Hunter to happen.
So they emailed me last week, and they were like, hey, another Monster Hunter is about to happen. And I was like, you know what? I still have NieR. I still have... right at that point, I had Village on its way. You know what I mean? I was like, let me hold off on these. I want them, and I really want to play them, but let me hold off. And I did the same thing for Miitopia, because I really want to play Miitopia also, but I'm like...
I'll definitely buy them and have them installed, but I probably won't touch them right away. Because is it pre-order only that takes advantage of, like, you get a discount on the other one? Or you can do it after the fact? Yeah,
as long as you buy one, the other one gets discounted by $15 or whatever the price is.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I guess to like get it on day one might show them, like, hey, people care about it a little more than...
I had that same thing, and then... It was an internal struggle. It was tough.
I get it.
Matt? What are you jumping into this week?
Yeah, you kind of said it already. I think I'm going to come back next week and talk about MLB The Show because I have gotten myself dirty with some Road to the Show. You want to talk about character creator. I was inspired by the audio name that I chose for myself. Doughboy Daddy is what they call me when I walk up to the plate. So I made what I think of a Doughboy Daddy.
Well, we have, sounds like a podcast image and name for next week's episode. Nice. Very good. I'm going to wrap up that Aftermath story, and if there's anything worth talking about, I might bring it up again next week. But Mortal Kombat's been fun. I also want to run through Injustice 2 again, just to see what that looks like. Keeping the Peggle train going, dude. Like... Peggle.
Well, hold off on Peggle too if there's nothing coming out in 2021.
That's true. Yeah, I've got time for it.
Peggle is kind of one of the other religions out there next to Tetris Effect. So it's a way of life.
I get that, man. Believe me, I get that. I hear Ben screaming at the podcast right now. There's been some big updates with the CPS2 board stuff on Mister, so I've been poking at some of the stuff that has come out of that scene. We're almost at the end of all the CPS2 games, which is exciting. But I know that some of the ones, the thing that came out Friday for Patreon, said that the last few are going to be a little bit of a journey for some of the bugs that are happening graphically and stuff like that. But there's been a couple of shooters that got added, which have been cool. I think at this point, all of the Darkstalkers games are available, I think. So that's cool.
Nice.
But yeah, man, Mister's still a cool little project. I was playing some Game Boy Color games on it last night as well. Shout out to Super Robot Pinball. That's it. And you know what? I played Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy. Man, what a game.
Not bad. I remember when that came out, everyone loved it. That was that cartridge too. It stood out.
So yeah, I have the.
I don't know. Did it really need to be that big? Why?
There's a battery on the inside of it. You have to put a battery in. Not for Rumble, but I don't remember. There's a reason, and I don't remember what it was. So
Metallica, that's why. Lars demanded Nintendo
put a battery in it so I can. All right. That is it for the Free Cheese episode 400. If you've got any favorite memories or stories or things throughout the years, we would really love to hear them. Honestly, podcast@thefreecheese.com. Send them our way. Ask us anything over there at that email address. We will answer your questions on the air. That's it. Till next time. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Oh, the Twitter. The Free Cheese is at Some Free Cheese. Mark is at Og_Mental. Matt is at MattyIce131. That's it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt, for 400 episodes. Thank you, listener. We'll be back next week.